Hi guys. So I want to talk about my experience with Kratom today. It's not something I know a huge amount about. I used it for a few months, like quite a lot. To me, it wasn't hugely addictive or problematic. It wasn't, if you see my video on Phenibut, I have quite a negative opinion of Phenibut. I don't have that with Kratom. I know that some people get addicted to it. I mean, I've seen people not seen it personally, but I've, read posts of people taking huge amounts, like, I think there's people taking like 50 grams a day and stuff. I think maybe even more. I might be completely wrong. I think some people maybe take like 100 grams a day or some crazy shit like that. I don't know. But I know people take enormous amounts of it. There are some people who are clearly quite heavily addicted to it and often seemingly somewhat in denial. And I don't think ingesting that amount of any kind of sort of random plant matter that you've bought online is like healthy, really, especially not when it's having an effect on your dopamine receptors. I know that over time that will desensitize them and will have an effect on hormone levels and sleep and weight and stuff like that. And to use it like that obviously is not good. But I think on the other hand, there are people who use it to get off opiates and stuff, and I don't know how effective it is. I guess that's like a similar approach to methadone or something. It's like, if you don't feel you can get off the drug, then you go on to something that's slightly less harmful. And realistically, even if Kratom can be very addictive for some people, people aren't out there like, selling their bodies for it and shit and, turning over their whole lives. So not as far as I'm aware anyway. I can't imagine that being the case. So I think it's, I don't know, in my experience it was fine. I started using it back when I was living in Brighton a few years ago. I started using it just as a way of having a break from weed because I was getting really sick of smoking weed, and again, I probably should have just stopped smoking it, but I just I didn't feel I could, so I wanted something to kind of bridge the gap, or not to bridge the gap, but to kind of to just give me a way of having a couple of days off smoking weed, which was stupid because in the end I ended up smoking weed with Kratom all the time anyway. But I found it to be really enjoyable. Not the most, it's not the most mind-blowing, incredible feeling you'll ever experience, but I found going out on it and doing things and being active was really enjoyable. Like going on really long walks. I lost quite a lot of weight at that time. I was getting really into David Goggins and stuff like that, and it's when I was really starting to lose a lot of weight. Kratom helped with that. I used to taking it and just go on really long walks around Brighton, go up and down hills and stuff, and it made things like that really enjoyable. I felt really motivated. I didn't enjoy it at home. I don't remember a single time I had a fun time on Kratom indoors at home. It was never enjoyable to go on the computer or to do things, or I just always had to be outside. My favorite thing to do at the time, weirdly, was I really missed doing this. There was loads of supermarkets in Brighton in walking distance, and I used to just go at a certain time and get all the reduced food, when there's meat or fish or something that's gonna pass its sell by date, so they mark it down to 20% of its original price. And man, the buzz I would get from that, because it's the combination of the Kratom, the exercise, the food, just getting the food, and then also the savings, and that weird hunter-gatherer feeling you tap into when you I don't know, hoarding food or something. It was, I don't know, it just felt, I just used to love it. I would go and I'd come back with these insane hauls of food, like stuff that was literally, I mean, it was costing pennies to get, good quality meat and burgers and fish and all that shit. It was amazing. So I used to do that a lot. That was pretty much my my hobby, my favorite thing to do. Take Kratom and do that. Brighton's a great place, man. I miss it. So So yeah, I used it for that, and I didn't. The negative consequences were they were minimal, but they were still there. Like it affected my sleep, and the problem was what I found, if you take it too close to going to sleep, you can't sleep, and if you take it too far away, you're sort of withdrawing or like kind of like coming down off it or whatever while you try to sleep. So it was quite a difficult balance. I found that I had to take like a tiny bit near sleeping, and then also sometimes I'd take like a antihistamine sleeping tablet, which I now know those are very unhealthy and you shouldn't take them, but at the time I didn't really care. So I'd take those, and if I did that, I would have quite a good sleep and I'd wake up feeling good. But I felt sometimes that was because the Kratom was still in my system. And yeah, it started out originally like, oh, we'll just do it on Saturday or whatever, and then it was like, oh, let's do it on Sunday as well, and then the following weekend, like, oh, let's start on Friday, then we'll do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we'd end up doing it maybe Monday as well. And it started, where quite a lot of the time we would just be doing it on weeknights, and it's fine, really. I mean, it wasn't, again, it wasn't wreaking havoc in our lives. There were times when we were probably doing it more than we wanted to, and we felt a bit like compelled to do it, or a bit, I guess the problem is when you become a bit afraid of the idea of not doing something, and that would happen sometimes. We'd think like, oh, I don't want to spend the night not on Kratom, I feel sort of weird without doing it. I did want to do it a lot, but yeah, I can't look back and say it was like, a dark time or something like it was when we were using Phenibut, because it wasn't. It was fine, really. It was just whatever. It was like, not completely regulated, managed, perfect drug use, but nothing really hugely worrying either. And eventually I got a bit sick of it anyway, because it was just a bit, I don't know, it's kind of like something a bit disgusting about it. Like, especially if you make it into a tea, it's okay, but then I find it's not as potent. But then there's the other way of taking it is like, if you have a dose of like 4 grams, for example, that's 4 grams of this powder you have to swallow. And a lot of people use what's called toss and wash, where you put it in your mouth and you wash it down with something. I found that to be fucking disgusting. If you're doing like 2 grams, that's okay. And really, you probably don't need to do more than that. Like, it's stupid. I was doing too much. Although very little compared to some people. But the toss and wash thing, yeah, I found that to be disgusting. Like, I'd end up like gagging, and I'd get like the powder all down the back of my throat, or you feel the dry powder going down, and it's just, yeah, it was horrible. But then if you try to mix it, it doesn't mix with things easily. So what I've found, and this works generally for things like this, when you have to mix a powder into water, is you want to mix it first into a really tiny amount of water. So you put like a little bit, like 1 centimeter of water in the cup, then you put your powder in, then you mix that, and then you can start adding more water, and then you'll eventually get it into an even consistency, and you can just drink it. But we used to, we were getting into like a lot of sugar-free food at the time, which I now don't touch because I think it's really bad for your stomach. A lot of like artificial sweeteners and stuff. And you can feel that if you eat them. If you've eaten a lot of artificial sweeteners, you'll know what I'm talking about. Jesus, like, it wreaks havoc on your guts. And this, during this period we were into a lot of that, so we'd get these like nasty like sugar-free cherry aids and like Fanta knockoffs and stuff. And I just remember having these massive cups full of Kratom and like sugar-free cherry aid and things like that, like washing it down and then rinsing the cup out and washing it, and then thinking like, oh, I didn't have quite enough, I'm going to pop another 2 grams in my cherry aid before I go out. And I'd bring a bottle, after a while I started bringing a bottle of it with me, like a pre-mixed solution that probably looked to people like I was having like a kale smoothie or something healthy, but I wasn't. I was being a little fucking low-level junkie, a little like, the lamest junkie ever, a little Kratom junkie, drinking it in public on one of my little walks. And yeah, so it was quite disgusting to consume, and I always felt like sick and full afterwards. Again, probably also the artificial sweeteners, which, by the way, if you have a lot of those, I really recommend getting off them. Like, I think they fuck up your gut bacteria completely, and that's really bad, and that can cause a lot of other health problems that you might not notice are related. And I just don't think they're healthy. I don't really think any of them are. At the moment, there doesn't seem to be any. weirdly, this is completely off topic, sorry, but weirdly, a thing I've noticed that is really sweet and is not an artificial sweetener, it doesn't have any kind of negative health effects, it's actually good for you, is glycine. It's I don't know exactly what glycine is, but it's you can buy it as a supplement in a powder, and naturally it tastes really sweet. It's good if you're into training, strength training and stuff, and it also helps you sleep, and it can be kidney protective and shit like that. Weirdly, if you get glycine and you get L-carnitine, L-tartrate, and you mix them together, it's like fucking lemonade, and there's nothing added to them. That is how they taste. L-carnitine, L-tartrate is very sharp and like kind of like lemon. It's very acidic, and glycine is just sweet. On their own, they're both a bit disgusting, but if you mix the right amount of them in a cold glass of water, it's like a supplement that naturally tastes sweet. It's kind of crazy. So I'm sure there will be some healthy artificial sweeteners on the market one day, because why couldn't there be? You know, there will be, I'm sure, but the ones at the moment, I don't think are very healthy. Anyway, sorry, besides the point. So yeah, I would always feel like sick from it, and just a bit, I don't know, just feel a bit disgusting, and like part of that is I guess some of it is like typical opiate stuff, like you lose sensation, in your body and shit, and like you just feel a bit like I don't know, just a bit dumb really, like I don't know, I would just feel a bit, sometimes we'd go home and it was like late and we wanted more, but then we thought, we won't sleep, and it's just the hassle, I guess, just the hassle. I think that's what a lot of it is with me with drugs now, why I'm like a bit avoidant of them in a way that I wasn't in the past. It's just a hassle, like being whether you're addicted or not, just regularly using drugs is there's so much stuff to think about, and it's just annoying. Like being sober is just easier in a way. You just wake up and you just fucking live your life. You haven't got to worry about like, have you had the right amount of this, and are there going to be consequences, and do you need to supplement with that? You just fucking, just get up and live. And when you're deciding activities to do, it's one less thing to think about as well. So yeah, I guess that's part of the reason. And now I'm very into fitness and training and stuff, more into strength training than cardio, and that has put me off a lot of drugs as well, because I'm always like obsessively paranoid about like things affecting my progress and stuff like that, and especially as I get older, I'm more reluctant to touch stuff like Kratom that is going to have an effect on your testosterone, and not significant, by the way, it's not, but the problem is apparently any kind of dopamigenic substance, so whether that's stimulants or Kratom, opiates in general, will ultimately have some kind of effect on your testosterone levels or on your testosterone activity, because I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm not the best person to explain it. But yeah, that's I know the guy from Psyched Substance, another bald guy who does videos about drugs, a lot more well known than I am. With good reason, he's been doing it for years, and very high production values and good content. He said that it completely fucked up his testosterone, and like he basically had the levels of like a woman. He ended up going on TRT for it, which is kind of interesting because he's like fucking massive now. But yeah, it puts me off doing stuff like that partially. Otherwise, I might just think, fuck it, do it once in a while. But also, there's that thought in the back of my mind that, like, because I have some right here under my computer, and it would be quite fun sometimes to do it at the weekend and walk around Valencia and shit, or maybe go to the mountains. But I just think like I might get into it again and start then what I would find with drugs a lot, say for example you go on a nice day out to the mountains and you're on something, then when you go sober it feels like a bit of a letdown, and it's a bit sometimes like cheating your way into pleasure, and I felt I was doing that a bit with Kratom. Like we did it a bit in Spain as well. We ordered some here, and it was like during quite a bad time in our life, I guess. And I found sometimes we'd be in a really bad mood. I mean, it was not a nice time for us, and we'd be in a bad mood, and then we'd take it, and suddenly we would just we'd be walking around, going to the shops, whatever, and we suddenly just start being really nice to each other. We start feeling really positive about everything. And we start being like, oh, should we do this when we get back? Or, oh, I can't wait to work on this. Or, oh, I really love you, and blah, blah, blah. He's having such a great day. Oh, it's so fun. I love living here, blah, blah, blah. And that was not how we felt sober. And there's something a bit disconcerting about that. I sort of remember it vividly, the shift in emotion we would get. And I guess probably for us, that was because we were using so many drugs at the time that we'd kind of depleted our natural reserves of, positivity, if you will. But it still was a bit just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But all of that combined kind of mildly puts me off it. But I'm not opposed to doing it, and if a social situation came up or there was some reason to take it, I think it would be fine. And I think, again, it depends. It's different things for different people, isn't it? Like, some people get much more addicted to stuff than others. I was reading about, I kind of want to do a video about it. I was reading about the guy, I think his name is Mr. A. His like, they have to give him like a code name because they can't reveal his real identity. And this was a guy who took, I think in his life he took like thousands of ecstasy tablets. I think he was taking 25 pills a day at one point or something. And when you read about him, it's just crazy. Like, he just couldn't remember things that happened like 20 seconds ago. Like, he had his long-term memory, but he couldn't remember simple things. He was completely dysfunctional. He was having like hallucinations. He was fucked up. He couldn't sleep properly. His whole body was like all messed up and shit. He was taking so much. It's just crazy to think, like, even a lot of people who have a big problem with pills, for example, they take them every weekend, and they might have like 3-day weekends and stuff, and it's really unhealthy and it's really bad for them and it fucks up their life. But this guy was doing it every day. And not just every day, but he was doing more every day than most people would do in a fucking 4-day weekend. Even most, like, wreckheads who like abuse it. And it's just crazy to, it really depends on the person, I guess. And I'm sure that's the case with Kratom. I don't doubt that some people could, especially depending on the time in their life that they get into it, some people could probably get really badly addicted to it. And I know some people have had big problems with it. So all I can say, is for me, I felt it was okay. Like, I think I could use it, but I just can't, at the moment I can't be bothered. But overall, I think it's decent, and I think it's better than a lot of the shit that's out there. To me, it's better than spending your weekends doing like cocaine or something, and to me it's definitely better than Phenibut, and it's better than doing real opiates, and it's better than being on fucking stimulants all the time. But perhaps, like many of these things, maybe it's not better than, like a good trip or something, or I don't know, something like that, something that has maybe more long-term value for you, and less physical effects. I don't know. But overall it was decent. Curious to hear your experiences with it, if anyone has any to share. Thanks again for watching. Really appreciate all the new subscribers and feedback and stuff. It's really good. Really nice little thing growing here. A lot of the comments people leave are like really, really encouraging and nice. I really appreciate it. Keeps me motivated to keep making more videos, because at times I'm just busy doing other things or whatever, but it's really cool to see how much people appreciate these videos. That's great. Really appreciate you guys watching. Also, new book is coming out in like a few days, probably on the 8th of July, I'm not sure. It's called The Failed Artist's Guide to an Unsuccessful Career. It's kind of a humorous and hopefully informative, thoughtful look at being an artist in like the modern era, when there's so many, when there's like, basically everyone is one, and inevitably most people who do it will end up failing. And the book is not about failing, the book is about succeeding, but it's also about, I guess, kind of evaluating what success means and just keeping your sanity intact. A lot of stuff I wish I had known or thought about years ago, because I sort of lost my mind, sort of trying to be like a successful artist, because it's so difficult. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be really good. There's a website set up. It's www.failedartistsguide.com. Depending on when this video comes out, it probably won't be quite finished yet, but I've put the whole book on there, so the book is readable on there now. And there's going to be an artist spotlight feature where I feature other people's work and a forum and shit. But yeah, that's not really relevant to this video anyway, so I'll do more stuff about that. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys are good. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.